Hi, it's Rana, and today I have a layout for Scraptember, and this is day, oh my goodness, I already forgot, day 22, circles, and this is actually going to be the beginning of my book for our Alaska trip. And this is a door hanger that I made. I made one for myself and one for my sister. That's why I have two circles cut there for our cruise doors. So I am going to show you some of the things that I'm using. I did use my Cricut to cut this out. This is a porthole. So I just, went into the search and I do have access. So I just searched for porthole and that came up, and I used paper, the one that is cut, the big circle with the circles all the way around the porthole, is cut from Adventurer's Log, and that is from Some Assemblage Required. That is an online store by MK Gunn, and she designed that paper. The blue that I cut, that's going to be the background there, that is actually from 49 and Market, and it is from the, sorry about the crinkling, Wanderlust Explorer by Dennis Burton. It's the 49 and Market, and I'm going to be using both of those collections throughout my Alaska book. So I wanted to incorporate both of them on this title page. What you're going to see in the finished pictures here, because I did record this before I left, but since my computer is messed up, I wasn't able to get the video up before I left. And so that's why it's not going to be complete on this, because when I do this as my title page, I'm going to actually have a picture on it as well. And I didn't have a picture yet when I made this for our door. So some of the other products that I'm using, you can see there, the Nuvo Gilding Flakes. This is a gold, the Radiant Gold. And before that, I used some Stamperia Glamour Paste in gold, and I let that dry just a little bit. Then I just dotted on a little bit of the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and then I took the gilding flakes, pressed it on, and I'm going to go back through. I'm just kind of pressing it on here and letting them dry, and then I'm going to go back through and just kind of brush it off with my fingers. You can also use a brush, but I kind of tend to do everything with my fingers. I was kind of struggling. I had just gotten my nails done for the cruise. I think a few of the videos that I did after we got home, you can see like they're still the same nails and they're all grown out and terrible. I finally did get that stuff taken off. I'm not a polish girl, and this was gel nails and it was extra thick, and I felt like my hands were not my own, and I couldn't make my fingers work properly. But anyway, I'm just not that girly type, I guess, at least not for nails. So anyway, yeah, that's just me kind of wiping it off. I wanted to leave this in. I probably should have cut out a little bit of it because you can get the picture without going all the way through every circle here. But you're basically just daubing a little bit of glue on there and then putting the flakes down, and then once that dries a bit, you can kind of wipe off the excess, and you don't even, you just return that to the jar and you can use it on your next project. And it gives a really cool look. I like it. It's messy, but that's okay. Sometimes it's kind of fun. I also love these gilding flakes because they do resist ink. So I wanted to add the black ink, and this is just Distress ink, not Distress Oxide ink. And I just went over it with a little dauber. I wanted it to have a little bit more distinction from the rest of the circle, and that's why I added the gold, the shimmer first, and then the gilding flakes, and then I'm adding this black. And you can still tell it's the same paper, but it just gave it a little extra oomph, and you can tell it's supposed to be like all the bolts that go around the porthole. Um, I wanted mine fancy and not, just a bolt, so that's why I added all the gold. I just thought that that made it look kind of cool, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I am going to bring some more gold in, and you'll see that here in a few minutes. So I used 3 different Distress Oxide inks. I'm showing you each one there. I can look up what colors those are. I think it's Salty Ocean, Mermaid Lagoon, and then Uncharted Mariner. Pretty sure that's right. Those are kind of my go-to, I think, when I'm doing these oceany type things. So I did just a real quick blend because I know I'm going to come back in and blend some more. But I'm also going to do some stamping. And the stamping that I'm doing is from a company called, I think the company is called True North. Um, and it's, I think that's right. You get a devotion as well as some scrapbook supplies with each of these. I did not buy it from the company, I bought it from my friend. And you get a devotion with each one. By the Well. By the Well is the name of the company. True North was the name of this collection. I apologize. By the Well. But it does have a little, it's kind of a devotion, kind of a Bible study in between the two that you go through. But then also there is some scrapbooking stickers, and some of them have washi, some of them have letters, some of them have ephemera and some fabric and just all kinds of different things. And it's small. It's more like traveler notebook size. This one actually came with watercolors as well. These are really pretty. I can't wait to play with these some more. I just used them for splatters on this, but the stamps were gorgeous. I just chose some of these compasses because they were circles, I guess. Some of them are kind of a wonky circle, and then some of them are just a circle with the north, south, east, west on there. And I, was just adding that as part of my circles here. I also cut out this cruise ship. And again, I just went in and searched for cruise ship on my Cricut, and I liked this one. I didn't really need it to be as big as it was, so I'm going to let some of the end be cut off. And I'm going to get that placed on here. I just cut it out of black, and I've decided to do a title. Now I cut out, I think in the beginning I showed you the title that I cut out said Love Cruising Together. And I'm just going to do Love Cruisin' and then bring in some sticker letters, which I also showed you. The sticker letters, well, they're thickers, and they are from Vicki Boutin's Wrapped in Ribbons from American Crafts. And they are black and they have some gold. And I wanted to bring that gold in, and I also wanted something dimensional on this besides just the little circles around the porthole, which are the little bolts or whatever. So I also cut a black circle, and I just to be able to have everything, hold up. So I'm going to pop the porthole up all the way around. I just do some black foam tape so that it wouldn't show. Since it is going to be hanging on the door, it wouldn't really make that much difference. But I did the black because I thought it would be the best way to keep it, all consistent, I guess, since it's going to be on black paper, and the black is going to show through. So I just went with the black foam tape, and I had some, so it worked out. I did 1mm for that, but then when I pop up the each of the circles, because I was running out of time, I was doing this like almost the day before we left. I might have started it 2 days before we left. And I really did not have time to be messing with that so much. So I ended up using white because I had some that were round. The little hanger, so that it would hang on our doors, is actually a really old Seven Gypsies fabric reinforcer. And they have just like the ones that would go on if you poke a hole, then you have the fabric reinforcer. This one, though, worked well so that I could fold it over and then the holes just lined up, and that's where I just ran that. I had some magnets that had hooks that I was taking anyway, and so that worked out perfectly. I was able to just put the magnet to the front or to the door of our cabin and then hang this up, and it worked out fantastic. And I surprised my sister with one. We went down to her room when she wasn't in there and put it on her door, and then when she came in, they saw it, so that was kind of fun. Little surprise. So since this was cut with the Cricut, I just have to glue each piece down for the title there. The holes that I'm going to pop up also, I did not mention, those are popped up even farther than the 1 millimeter that I did around the circle. So it's already popped up, and then I'm going to use a thicker, they're pop dots for the other part, and so they'll pop up even farther. And then these letters, of course, are thicker, so they're up on foam tape as well. You can see all the little circles. I already popped those in there. They were the perfect size. And I was going to try and do all black, but I didn't have the pop dots in black. And I just thought, you know what, I'm running out of time. I'm just going to use these because they're perfect. So I'm adding one of those to each of the circles. I did actually, as I pulled them off my Cricut mat, I tried to make sure that they stayed in the right order. And I was going to make sure that it lined up and came from the same spot that it was cut out of. But by the time I added the gold and everything, you weren't going to notice that much if it was exactly where it came from. So I gave up on trying to make sure it was perfect and lined up. So, and I'm not sad about that. I think it worked out fine. So I'm going to add a little bit of gold splatters with my favorite paper splatter here. And that just added an extra little bit of shimmer. I think I'm about done. I have some close-ups, and I will show this when I start working on my book with the picture that I'm going to add and the front page for my album. I hope that you will check out the description box below to see everybody else who's playing along with Scraptember. Mine is going to be up after the fact. It'll be up in October because that's when I could get my voiceover done, because again, my computer has been messed up. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.